I'm Kelsey Zeiser, Senior Editor at Light Reading, and we're here at the Big Communications event in Austin. I'm joined by Kishore Raja with Boingo. It's good to see you, Kishore.
Good to see you, Kelsey.
So could you provide us with an update on Boingo's efforts around small cell deployments, and also how are operators factoring small cells into their 5G plans?
Right. So Boingo has been deploying a neutral host wireless service for the past many years now, and at least from the past 10 years, Boingo has been deploying small cells, DAS as well as Wi-Fi, collectively what we call as small cells. And you must have seen our Q1 2018 announcement. We had a great Q1. We had an amazing 2017. Our CFO just announced that we made 41% of our revenue on DAS in Q1 of 2018. And as of now, we have 41 venues live on DAS with 84 in the backlog, giving us a total of 125 venues. We have a total of 24,200 DAS nodes live with 11,200 in the backlog. So we have a great strategy for DAS as well as the small cells deployment. We have plenty of small cells deployment that are upcoming that I can't necessarily talk about here. Of course, then we do Wi-Fi deployments as well. So let me answer the second part of your question. The second part was how are operators addressing small cells when it comes to 5G? If you look at what's going on with 5G, there's a good amount of innovation happening in small cells and 5G. So there are three main components. You have the packet core, you have IP management system, and then you have a radio access network, which completes the entire network deployment, be it 3G, 4G or 5G, and every single component is getting virtualized. So there's innovation happening in virtualizing these network components, as well as with technologies like MEC, mobile edge computing. You can literally bring the service close to the edge and right close to where the user is, so there is low latency, high bandwidth, and small cells is the perfect way to do that.
So you're speaking on a panel today on ultra-reliable, low-latency communications and the network edge. What are some of the challenges that operators are facing in re-architecting networks for those low-latency services like virtual reality, mixed reality, and other applications like that?
So let's talk about what exactly this ultra-reliable low latency means. So as I mentioned before, in 4G, the latency requirements were between 50 to 100 milliseconds. Now translate that into 5G technologies, you're looking at an end-to-end latency of 1 millisecond or lesser. That's 1 millisecond, which is a very low latency. And 5G is also adding 3 new use cases, which never existed back in 4G. Number one is called as eMBB, Enhanced Mobile Broadband. Then the second one is massive machine communication, and the third one is critical machine communication. So with enhanced mobile broadband, you can now transmit 4K video on a 5G network, which requires you to have at least 1 gigabit per second throughput and 1 millisecond end-to-end latency. So for these things to happen, there are innovations happening in the small cell areas and the core areas in general. So to deploy any network, be it 3G, 4G or 5G, you need 3 main components. You need a packet core, also called as Evolved Packet Core, then IP management system, also called as IMS, and lastly, the radio access network or the RAN. So both the EPC as well as IMS have been long virtualized now. So you can deploy these components as virtual network functions, but RAN was never virtualized until now. You see a lot of vendors, a lot of companies virtualizing radio access network, and the interesting part is RAN is the most expensive part of the network. So it makes perfect sense to virtualize RAN. And the way it's getting virtualized is you can basically move the baseband element closer to the edge or move it away into a central location, and you can dynamically control how much baseband goes to each of these remote radio heads. So that combined with the virtualization concepts of IMS and EPC, you can achieve gigabit per second throughput as well as 1 millisecond latency.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time, Kishore. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Kelsey.